Okay, my name's Joseph Andrew Jensen Sr. I've had a week off, doing a lot of thinking. I haven't been listening to God because God's not talking. God's kind of staying quiet, and that really bothers me. Before I knew what to say and I knew what to do. I think I know what to do now. I don't know whether God likes it. I don't know whether y'all are going to like it. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I do know what's going to happen. I'm going back to a normal life. I got a place I can stay for $400 a month out of $1,542 a month. I can send my wife $500 a month and still buy my groceries and live through things. I'm going to try to make a deal with the lawyers to start paying back my bills, too. However, my bills keep on growing on me. This IRS just throws its 2 cents worth and says I owe over $2,000 for 2019 taxes and 2020 taxes. When the fact of the matter is, not only did I file those two things, but I didn't collect I guess whatever the thing is for the checks that were passed out during the COVID times and everything. I only collected one. And I didn't file like I normally would, and I filed late. I don't know what's going on with the IRS, okay? I don't know what's going on with the world because their world's demanding all kinds of money, even though I lost my house, I lost my cars, and I paid for publishing. I paid for publishing God's message, and I paid for publishing the Torchmaster, republishing the Torchmaster twice, and I haven't even seen the books from your online publicist nor Gotham Books yet. I've always seemed to be getting behind the 8 ball here. And I've done more than my share, I think, because when I went to Africa, I had all hopes of this thing, just taking off. I thought the good news was God's come to build heaven on earth. I thought that would have been great news to the churches. I thought it would be great news to the world, that everybody was going to receive free money. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Except for the world seems to stay put that they don't want the help. They don't even want the money. They just want to keep on killing, keep on having abortions, keep on serving themselves, doing their own free will and not the will of God, totally ignoring God, keep the Cold War going, and never think that God has any influence on your own life. You don't claim him to be inside you. You don't claim him to be. Instead, you're going to look for him in the sky, on the earth, in another dimension, to the ground. How ignorant is that? That we would stand on such ignorant principles as that, flimsy, to say, oh yeah, there is no God. We're just living by chance. There's no family within you. When you're not within family, DNA doesn't count. Apparently, DNA doesn't exist, and especially not being alive, like it says in the Bible. The other point is that your unborn children. If you keep people who don't remember the times when you played in puddles alone, strictly alone, by yourself, and had a ball, or little boys playing with sticks, or little girls playing with doll babies alone, who was you playing with? He's playing with your unborn. God plays with the unborn every day, every chance he gets. The thing about it is we fail to recognize, you don't want to recognize the other part of this world, the spiritual part of this world, or whatever you want to call it, which there is no such thing as spiritual part of this world, because it's still a physical part of you. By your DNA, it's not a fictional thing. It's not a theory. It's fact. The fact that they're living. The fact is, it's got to be living because you're living in your children and you're living in them. Go ahead and commit a crime and see if you can't be convicted by your own blood up to being put to death You know, people on death row have gone to jail based on their DNA. The unborn, is it a theory, or has it happened to you, or is it closer to being fact than anything that you? That, tell me what powers you. Tell me what you have life by, and what religion has the true God, the one true God. The one true God exists in all of us. It's only a word. I told you before, the word it spoken to me, it's called IE. Interesting enough, IE sounds a lot like A and I, but it's just the opposite. IE sounds a lot like internal energy. If E equals energy, E equals mc squared, then I would equal eternal, i.e., what is your internal energy? How did you get it? Sister Rosa um, at the resource center, the Centre Akamori, where wanted to go this summer at Christmas time, or this Christmas, go to Christmas, to be Perry Noel, the 170 kids that I wanted to play Santa Claus for. I still want to do that. I still want to do a lot of things. Now I'm going to give you guys a simple task. I'm on this podcast and I'm on YouTube. It'll be my last podcast if I don't have any responses. I'm going to count the thumbs up. I'm looking for 9 billion thumbs up. God's looking for 9 billion thumbs up. In order to give a thumbs up, guess what you have to do? You have to use your hands. You have to use your feet to walk over to your computer, and you got to use your mouth, possibly. But you at least got to use your hands and give God your hands to give a thumbs up, or give God your thumb. That's all God's ever wanted. He wants recognition. God's only looking for recognition. He's not even looking for worship as far as he just likes recognition. Although the worship is a way to recognize, show and recognize God. The worship is to say, Lord, I love you. Thank you. The worship is to praise God for the week, for the day, for the moment. I never quit praying without ceasing except for this week. This week I haven't prayed. God's kind of mad at me. I'm kind of disappointed in God. I haven't received the answer yet, except for this. That is to challenge everybody. Give me the thumbs up through my website, through this. It took 5,000 years to get to this point. 5,000 years, and I'm trying to change it. God's tried to come back in this world in less than a year. He could have come in less than a year had it been widely accepted 5 years ago. But I wasted 5 years talking to Christians. I just come back talking to the Muslims. The Muslims eagerly listen to me. And they've been expecting this. That's what amazed me. They've been expecting this. They know it was going to happen. Though it's not written well in the Quran, as it is in the Christian religion, which Christian religion is written in a way that they would never even be expecting it. I told you about them being on holidays during Christmas time, and God did come back and came here to talk to them at Christmas time. When he called it rapture, they were disappointed because it wasn't the apocalypse. They're disappointed that they're not being saved and taken out of this world to see God somewhere up there in the sky on the good old gospel ship. How hypocritical. Lest the Christians decide to actually do some research and see what happened during the year 64 AD and the year 68 AD, especially 68 AD, when Nero himself committed suicide, when Paul and Mark were both killed by the mob, the Christian mob. Why were they killed? And how did Peter write the second Peter? How did John write the second John? They didn't. Paul wrote those two books. He wrote all about the Antichrist, him and Mark, even in Matthew's writings. Matthew was already dead. How could he write these things? Over to 20 books of the Bible could have been manipulated. I would say compromised the writings of the apostles, because they weren't even apostles. Paul wasn't born until 5 years after the death of Christ. Mark wasn't born until 12 years after the birth of Jesus, the death of Jesus Christ, not the birth. How could they know each other? Who was the first one to write about the Antichrist? Paul, Mark, Peter, John, 2 Peter, 2 John. Come on. When they talked about Mary in 2 John, which Mary are they talking about? They wasn't talking about the mother of Christ. They're talking about Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene getting back together. So they want to say that Mary Magdalene was married to Jesus and had children. And a whole set of French people are supposed to be direct descendants of Jesus Christ. How could that happen when he was crucified and dead? Where did Jesus have time? Outside of being with the apostles, where did he have time to be married and have children? Mary Magdalene saw Jesus right after the stone was rolled away from his tomb and saw him in the sky. Was she an immaculate conception too? Did Jesus all of a sudden have him when he came back risen from the dead, without scars on his, possibly with scars on his hands, but risen from the dead? You see what I'm talking about? Everything hinged on the Bible in its own writings. How many churches, especially the black churches in the South, oh, don't you talk about the Bible. Don't you dare talk about the Bible. This whole thing. Yeah. Nothing about logic. Nothing about God either. They're only going to mention Jesus. You can't have Jesus without God. Now, whether you people don't want to listen to me, then turn it off and don't give me a thumbs up. Or give me a thumbs down anyway. Because what I'm going to tell you is the truth. Because it was God in me that told me the truth. It's God in me that has so much against this earth. But it wasn't just the God in me that had so much to say. He was in his first shock himself. He didn't know that other gods, like the one that tried to kill me in Africa, existed. He thought it meant good news to God to build heaven on earth. He thought he could rally all the gods to back him. No. Because man has refused to do the will of God and done his own will for as much as 5,000 years. Wherever we decided to turn around and quit doing God's will. And we never have done God's will when we're sitting there deciding for him who's right and who's wrong, who lives and who dies. We're the judges. We're the ones playing God. Well, there wasn't supposed to be. That's not God's will for us to be the judge. We're not supposed to be the judge, juries, and executioner of people. God can't even touch us. He was compromised because he lives within us. Our families live within us. Our DNAs are in us. Our unborn are within us. He can't touch us. He's got to give us free will. Like I said, I was a crane operator 35 years. I pulled the levers. I couldn't pull the lever unless God pushed the button and pulled the lever first. They can do. Watch anybody says MRI. Have one done yourself and look at your own brain. You want to see the energy of God? Look at the MRI. You'll see your synapses shooting, maybe somebody else's, in a live MRI. You can see it. It's a physical thing. It's not a theoretical thing. We're not talking about theory. I don't care if you're Buddhist. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care what religion you are. But who the world needs to listen the most? It is organized religion. It's like the Catholic religion that's been following Paul, not Jesus Christ. The Catholic religion is doing the work of the great deceiver and the Antichrist. You don't believe that? Then look at the Illuminati. I told you about a pill that the doctor talked about in Cairo. My son was even confused that I said it was looking for FDA approval. You know, if it's looking for FDA approval, it's already being made throughout the world somewhere. The pill, the suicide pill, that everybody will take if they get depressed, or if they get hurting too bad, or they get bone joints, or anything, for any reason they just end their life overnight in their sleep. It's already being produced somewhere in this world. FDA approval is only this country. That's what my son pointed out. But if it's already, but God right away defended that by telling Joey, just think about what I just told you. If they're looking for FDA approval, that means it's already being produced. And I told you in the broadcast, in the third broadcast, I would gladly be taking that pill if it was right now and right then. But I got hope when I got hold of Marcel, and Marcel heard me. But I also wrote Marcel with hope. But here's the hope. Marcel, you can hear this too. You got? And little Marcy. You all will reap the benefits. But you're going to have to, everybody's going to have to prove. If God wants to get 9 billion people the money, then 9 billion people can simply give the thumbs up for God. In those thumbs up comes power. Comes power. The people have to demand, have to use that thumb for God. Remember, God's asking for your hands, your feet, and your mouth. Now God's asking for your thumb. Thumb. Simply your thumb. And hopefully not a thumbs down, but a thumbs up. You believe in what I say? The better one believes. I know that there's no rabbi, no educated pastor in this world. I don't care if he's got a doctor's degree. I don't care if he went to seminary. I don't care if he's a teacher. They haven't got an argument with me. They can't debate me. If they do, fine. Then come talk to me. And I'd love to talk with them, but they're going to come to me. I'm not spending no more money to go to them. I'm not going to go to Joel Osteen's church again to try to see Joel. I need Joel to come seek me, talk to me. Ask me the questions. I need Donald Trump to kind of explain to me why he claims to be a religious man, but the thing about it is, if you guys want to unseat a president, if you want to unseat these governments, if you want to unseat things, what was I offering? What's God offering? A free phone. A free phone to do your banking. And every phone was re-registering the vote. And at the same time, everybody becomes free labor for the world. Free labor. Being paid by God's coin. How would God's coin do that? Because a duplicate God's coin, for every God's coin that's made, there's a duplicate comes to the church. That would pay the labor for everybody. A duplicate God's coin will be paid for every God's coin created. The church would receive that, but I wouldn't be keeping it. That's what I use to pay everybody in this world a salary. What will be that salary? Well, depends on the enlistment, how long it takes for them to enlist. Will it be a God's coin a month? Will it be 5 God's coins a month? Remember, God's going to be worth $50,000. You guys don't want to believe in this, but what else have you got to believe in? There's nothing else to believe in. Don't talk to me. Don't stop. Okay, why'd you do this? I'm talking. You see I'm talking? It's my granddaughter. She wants to stop this broadcast, and it's a live broadcast. She's telling me to go to hell now, okay? I'm talking to the whole world about something important. She's telling me to go to hell, okay? That's what I'm talking about. This world's backwards. The world's backwards. I got a grandchild tell me to go to hell while I'm making a broadcast to the world. Making a broadcast to the world, but it doesn't make no difference. Then she's again telling me to go to hell. He's still talking about it. She's going to disrupt this whole broadcast. She's going to disrupt this. She's still talking about it. She won't let me finish this broadcast because she's got to have her way. I started out making a simple broadcast to this whole world saying, I'm not being accepted by this whole world, yet I get told I'll go to hell by my own grandchildren. I'm leaving this in here, and it's going on YouTube the way it is, uncut. Why? This is telling you how backwards the world is. Everything they got is more important than God, more important than this message. Why would I want to cut anything of that? It's reality, isn't it? This is reality. I come home to make this message thing, and they can't even allow me to make this message. She's driven by other forces too. They can't wait. They want to stop me at every turn to saying anything. You want to see what I'm up against? Just told you what I'm up against. I'll lose God in this house. Nobody's going to try to understand. Not my son. Not my grandchildren. Nobody understands. How many of you actually rode a donkey up to the monastery at Petra? How many people have you gone to Africa, to Bujumbura, and been without lights for 8 days? But still with a smile on your face and loved every second of it. There wasn't bad experiences. I was terrified when I took the donkey to Petra. The point of the matter is, I've seen reality. I've been through reality. The reality of following God. But God has took himself been set aside, turned aside by other gods and everybody else not wanting to change. They've been cold. There's been a feud going on with human beings. How did that feud start? Because we decided we're our own gods. We can do as we damn well please. And I got to put up with my grandchild being mad with me for the rest of the week. She doesn't understand. Nobody understands. And I'm without my own home. I'm living here by the grace of God. By their grace, too. I'm going to leave this broadcast right now. I need thumbs up. I need 9 billion thumbs up. At least 4.5 billion. But every one of you has the ability to click on something 2 and 3, 4 times a day. As a protest, saying, yes, we want God. We want the free money. Yes, we want the free everything. Free education. Free health care. We want the killing to stop. We want to live with God in God's world. The alternative is only to give me a thumbs up. I'm going to sit back and take the quiet life now. Like I said, I'm going to investigate this guy at $400 a month. to see what they think that I could send my wife $500 a month and maybe negotiate money going to the lawyers to settle my bills. Even though I've had to turn in my car, guess my car still wants $14,000 for my car. $4,000 less than I took when I bought it. Still wants me to pay $14,000 for a car that I turned in. And don't get the benefit of riding. But there again, I'm not paying $500 a month for car insurance either. The state of South Carolina, you pay car insurance whether you're using the car or not. Whether you're going on vacation out of the country, if it's broken down, it doesn't make no difference in South Carolina. You're going to pay for full coverage, and you're going to pay for it year-round, just like he's driving it every day. In God's world, it'll be paid at the pumps, from gas fill-up to gas fill-ups. Your insurance will be at the pump. Or you could be paying for insurance, but how far can a car go? 360 miles? Cost be 500 miles on the tank full, unless you got double tanks or something. Usually it's about 360. So 360 miles insurance to get to one place to another. Then you pay for it at the tank and get it to another one. That solves it. Everybody else paying the price of the fuel anyway. The people that actually using the roads are the ones that will be paying for the taxes, because they're using the gas. We talked about home ownership and having either nuclear power, solar power, or wind power, or just free electricity. Any kind. It'd be the government's responsibility. Free electricity, free home security, free daycare, free education, again, free healthcare. If you want these things, then give it a thumbs up. But I want 9 billion of them. And how fast can 9 billion people is going to take? 5,000 years? I wouldn't doubt it. It's not going to happen in 1 year, unless a miracle happens. God's got to convince that many people whether they have it or not. That was my granddaughter. So anyway, I'm going to close this broadcast so I can go talk to her, because she's slamming doors still. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Nothing makes sense to me anymore. Our priorities are backwards. If I got to put up with this, as opposed to getting this world, helping God make build heaven, create heaven on earth. That's kind of insane, ain't it? That's what the world does. These petty bullshit, BS issues are in place of this. They take priority over this. Sad. Nobody gets this word. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to say good night. Leaving the broadcast the way it is. Good night.